Cao Ai-ying's husband, Lu, said that his wife was surrounded by many men who pinned her hands behind her back, pushed her head against the wall, and kicked her in the stomach. She was then given a lethal injection to kill the 8-month-old baby in her womb. She said she could feel the baby's struggle as it died. Why did this atrocious assault happen to Cao? Cao was found to be pregnant with her second child after she and her husband had already given birth to their first child. Under China's one-child policy, the only possible solution, if Cao and her husband could not pay the fine, was abortion. China's one-child policy, which is supported by the United Nations Population Fund, or the UNFPA, is a very effective and deadly population controlling method. The UNFPA supports population control and funds nations that are engaged in reducing their population growth. China is only one example of such a nation. My name is Levi Rocky. I'm a representative from the Wisconsin Right to Life Fox Valley chapter and an advocate for human rights worldwide. My information for this speech comes from the United States and international sources, including various departments within the United Nations, like the UNFPA, the World Food Program, the U.S. Census Bureau, CNS News, the Washington Times, and the Population Research Institute. Population control is an unnecessary reaction to the myth of overpopulation that has wreaked havoc upon humanity through forced sterilization and abortion, massive contraceptive use, and the weakening of economies of nation after nation. We are going to discuss 5 reasons in this speech why population control is a dangerous and damaging activity that the UNFPA should not participate in. Those reasons include the land area myth, food production, top-heavy economies, human rights abuses, and the health of humanity, or the health risks of population control, excuse me. The first reason why population control is an unnecessary activity is because of the land area myth. The land area myth is based on the speculation that the world's great population has or will soon overwhelm the land area of the earth. However, some simple mathematics can solve this seemingly impossible problem. According to the United States Census Bureau, the current world population is currently right around 6,999,000,000 people. The state of Texas has 7,494,271,488,000 square feet within its borders. If we're to take the entire population of the world and put it within the borders of Texas, each person in the world could have an area of land that measures 32 feet by 32 feet. That is enough room for a nice-sized house per person. Now, how big is the state of Texas compared to the rest of the world? Land area is not a problem. We have plenty of room in the world for billions of more people. The second reason is similar to the first, except that it pertains to food. Overpopulation is a concern if there's not enough food being produced currently, or if food production cannot increase to match the population growth. Much of the UNFPA's concerns regarding food are based on faulty science that predicts massive famines worldwide that will lead to starvation. However, as the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, the FAO, states in their February 9, 2012 Cereal Supply and Demand Brief, food production in 2011 was better than expected, and forecasts for this year show a good surplus. The reality is that there is more than enough food in the world. The FAO clearly says the problem. The world currently produces enough food for everyone, but many people do not have access to it. Furthermore, food production keeps going up. As you can see in, as you can see in this chart. In 1976, food production, which is shown by this red line here, was about 1.9 million metric tons per 579.1 hectares of land. In 2004, food production had increased to 3.1 million metric tons while using only 517.9 hectares of land. That's approximately a 60% increase in food production while decreasing land use by 10%. The third reason why the UNFPA needs to stop participating in population control is because of the damage we are causing our already top-heavy population. Looking at the United States, for instance, the population crisis is seen in the imminent collapse of the Social Security Administration. In the 2010 census, shown on this graph, people aged 45 to 64 increased by 31.5% to 81.5 million total population. The age group 65 and older went up 15.1% to 40.3 million. In the meantime, people aged 0 to 17 only increased by 2.4% to 76.2 million, while people aged 18 to 44 increased by a mere 0.6% to 112.8 million. The red is the growth rates, or the percentage increase, and you can see here's the oldest age group, goes up 65 and up, well, it's going up pretty much that much proportionately. Here's the 18 to 44 group. The annual growth rate of the United States of America as of July 2011 was only 0.7%. This is in a country that doesn't even participate in the UNFPA's population controlling methods. Nations that are participating, their growth rates are much worse, or negative growth rates. Nation after nation is suffering economically because of decreasing or negative growth rates. Many more nations will suffer in the future if this problem is not fixed. The current population growth gaps and the gender imbalances that we see in nations like China will cause weakened economies over time. And unfortunately, this is a problem that the UNFPA has been purporting through population control for years. The fourth reason population control methods must cease immediately is because of the human rights abuses that it has caused. These abuses include forced sterilization, abortion, and even ethnic cleansing in some countries. Take China's one-child policy for an example. Since 1979, the Chinese government has regulated their population by only allowing women to have one child. They claim that this has led to the elimination of 400 million people in their country. In some areas of the country, women are required to have a certificate licensing them to have a child, and in some areas, women in their childbearing years are required to go in for bi-monthly pregnancy checks. If a woman is found to be illegally pregnant and she cannot pay the usually exorbitant fine, the baby is often forcibly aborted and their mother is sterilized. As I shared in the beginning, China is not just an exception. Their policies are being proposed and adopted in other parts of the world as well. The fifth and final reason that I'm going to share today why population control is something the UNFPA should be opposed to is the negative effect it has on the health of humanity. This organization, the UNFPA, claims that there are 215 million people, 215 million women, in need of contraceptives, and that there is a need for 13 billion condoms annually. Obviously, these are to prevent pregnancy and supposedly to prevent HIV/AIDS. However, the UNFPA is mistaking the problem and the solution. Just listen to Kenyan obstetrician Stephen Karanja. Our healthcare sector in Kenya is collapsed. Thousands of Kenyan people will die of malaria, the treatment for which costs a few pennies, in healthcare facilities whose shelves are stocked to the ceiling with millions of dollars worth of contraceptive pills. Not only is that a waste of money and resources, But there is increasing evidence that contraception is a leading cause of breast cancer in women. Furthermore, condoms will not fix any of the population or disease problems. Instead, as The Lancet, a premier British medical journal, reported in the year 2000, increased condom usage will increase the chances of getting HIV/AIDS because condoms create a false sense of security and increase sexual activity with more partners. Condoms also contribute to the irresponsible and immoral behavior that created the HIV/AIDS crisis in the first place. I repeat, population control is an unnecessary reaction to the myth of overpopulation that has wreaked havoc upon humanity through forced sterilization and abortions, massive contraceptive use, and the weakening of the economies of nation after nation. We have seen that it is unnecessary by examining evidence regarding the land area myth, food production and supply, and an already top-heavy population. I also explained some of the damage that population control has caused by looking at human rights abuses and damage to the health of mankind. I call upon you, as the representatives and officers of the UNFPA, to live up to your purpose as an organization and to stop the atrocious practice of population control. The evidence against population control is overwhelming. Not only is it foolish and harmful to humanity, but it is also evil in the eyes of the Creator and God of the universe. You must change the course of the UNFPA now, or the population of the world will continue to be destroyed. Thank you.